Hi there, welcome back to Scrap and Coffee. So this is the completed memory box before it goes into our cover, and in this video I'm going to show you several elements of the box. I'm going to start with attaching magnets here so we can have these stay closed. I'm going to show you how I've made these closing flaps here, the doors, and I'm going to show you how I made the construct the boxes, and I explain a little bit on how I've made my pull-outs here. What I'm not showing you in this video, but you didn't miss it, so don't worry, is how I've made this little dome holder here. I have to refilm that because I accidentally deleted my videos, but so don't worry. In the next video I will show you how I made this one and attach the completed box in the album, so you didn't miss this part. It will come in the next video. Yeah, enjoy the video. It will be a little less structured than normally because I'm showing you several elements, but yeah, I hope you enjoy. Okay, so this is all decorated. I still have to do the inside, but I am a little bit playing around with how I'm going to make the closure. This is a little tryout piece. So I'm thinking about making two flaps that can open up like that. And of course one on this side as well. And then I want to make a little magnet here in the corner. I'm not sure how well that's going to work, but we'll find out. So yeah, in order to do so, I have a little scrap piece of chipboard and I've used my basic gray small magnets. They are about 1/2 inch. And what I did is I draw a circle around it with a border. I drew out some lines that I had about 5/8 inch. Square piece later on. I still have to cut it out. And then I just cut with my craft knife. Let me see if I can find it. As always, I'm a bit all over the place. Oh, I already have this. So with my craft knife, I just cut that circle out and peeled out some of the layers of the chipboard so it can sink in there. And I'm going to do the same thing here. And then I'm going to cut another piece so I can make 2 layers so it's a little bit more sturdy. And then I'm going to try to attach that in the memory box. So we'll see how it goes. And first I've tried to cut my pieces first, but then it's so small that when you peel out the layers, it's going to break. So that's why I'm doing it on a larger piece, and then I'm going to cut my pieces to size. So I've already drawn the pencil line for that magnet there. And I'm just going to, and it doesn't have to be perfectly round, but you do want your magnet to fit in there, of course. It needs to be able to sink in, because I don't want to create any bulk on the outside of my box. When the cover is closing, I want it to lay nicely flat. So this is a little bit of time-consuming work, but it's the small details. So for peeling those layers, I like to use my utility knife because it's a little bit sturdier, but please be careful. So you can just take that out. It's a little bit messy to do this. Good layer came out, so let's see. If it's sticking out a little bit, that's fine, but not too much. I think this is good. This will be fine. Okay. So like I said, this is a little bit messy. So now I'm going to redraw that line at 5/8 inch. No, I did it even a little bit. Yeah, 5/8 inch. So I know where to cut. And I've also, because this is a little bit more than 5/8, I've also drawn that line here. And and from that edge as well, 5/8. So it's a little square piece, so you can use your ruler. I hope this is going to work, and otherwise I'm going to make one large closure for both of them and have the magnet on the outside of the box, but I prefer to do it like this. I think I want to be able to open them separately. So let's see how that fits. Okay, that's nice. I'm going to glue those on top of each other. I'm a little bit off, so I'm going to cut that a little bit more. And I'm going to place this to the side. I can use that if I find that it works. That's better. Okay, I'm going to place that magnet in there. And then I'm getting myself some white paper. Just have some scraps of printer paper. So I'm going to glue it on the corner there, and then I'm going to leave myself some room to wrap it around, but I'm just going to cut that by hand. So let's apply some glue here. If it's not working, I'm just going to take the magnet out, but what I'm most scared of is I don't want to ruin my box after all that work. But we'll see. So I'm just going to eyeball this a little bit. It's just to give it a clean edge. Just miter that a little bit there. Use that for the other one. Maybe. Give that a little bit of a score line, but this is printer paper, so you don't need a lot. I'm going to glue this one side down. Just fold that in a little bit. Okay, so we can place some decorative paper on there, of course, to really finish it off. So the idea is, let's try it on this side, to place it there in the corner. So I need to make some strips to attach it. Now I'm thinking, would it have been better if I had the paper overlapping here and here? I think so. So can I still get this off? I don't know. I'm just going to place another layer on top of it. Yeah. Okay, I did think about it beforehand, but I forgot. So I'm just going to give myself a little. That's probably better off cutting it once I've placed it. Do I mind that you can see that little edge there? No, I don't think so. I don't think you will really notice it once it's in there. We'll see how I can make that nice and clean. So maybe for this one I'm just leaving it. No, because I need to fold the other one as well in place. And I can cut that there when I have placed it. So I need to place a little strip here and there on the showing sides. So if you know that you're going to place them, you could wait with placing this. I think I'm out of frame. You're going to wait with this strip here to clean that up. Place your magnet structure first and then clean it up with the strip here. Maybe that would be better. You could at least try it. But I think at the end it's not going to be that visible. You know, this is the bottom. We won't be able to see this once we're done. So I'm not going to worry about that too much. Okay, so I'm going to place my glue now here on my attachment strips. Yeah, how do you want to call these things? And I am going to place that, pushing that in the corner. Use my bone folder to place that there. And I haven't attached any glue here yet. Maybe I should have done that, but oh, need to give it some time to dry. Then I'm going to cut it there. I hope you can see what I'm doing. I think this is working. There. Yes, I'm happy with that. So now this is not the right one because I need to make the frame larger because now you can see that. So you have to take that in account when making the frame, but we can place a magnet there and then it will stay closed. And then I think I'm going to use an eyelet with some ribbon or something where you can pull it open. Okay, this is the future me again. I just wanted to make clear, because I didn't really tell you in the video, that in the tutorial for your flaps you find measurements, but what I didn't think about is that I had to adjust my chipboard piece that fitted in between here. So what you want to do is you want to measure the size that you have between this chipboard piece and this chipboard piece, and you want your cardstock to line up nicely without any overhang. So that's the second measurement for your cardstock pieces in the cutting guide, and you might need to adjust that a little bit larger or a little bit smaller. Maybe it's exactly the same, but that's really depending on how you've constructed the box. So please measure this before you draw and cut your frame, so you have the right size and you have the right size of frame on that cardstock piece. So as you can see, mine is lining up exactly with those two pieces of chipboard. So measure that before you start making your frame. Okay, I'm going to show you how we are going to make this flap closure for the larger part of the box. So for that you need 3 pieces of cardstock and 2 pieces of acetate or Duralar, whatever you prefer. You have 1 piece of memory box A and 2 pieces of memory box B cardstock. Your memory box A has a score line here on one side, and I'm going to draw a 5/8 inch frame on this piece. So that means I'm going to draw a line 5/8 of an inch from the 3 sides that has no score line, and I'm going 1 1/8 of an inch from the cut edge on the side that does have a score line, and that will be 5/8 of an inch from your score line. There we go. Now a little, let me see, a little trick that I recently picked up to get a nice clean corner is to use a paper piercer to just pierce there where the pencil lines meet. So I'm doing that. So once we've done that, I'm going to use my ruler and my knife to cut out that frame. There we go. That comes out. I don't throw away all these scrap pieces. I really use them for making my die cuts and all sort of stuff. Also all the parts that you will see, we're going to make the memory boxes later on in the video, and I've cut out a lot of the squares of the paper and I just keep them for die cutting and everything. Okay, that was a little sidetrack. So then we get our B pieces in, and what we are going to do is we are going to line them up in a way where we're still able to see the score line. And if they have a little bit of overhang, I would prefer to have the overhang on the bottom. That's going to be the easiest later on. And we are going to clean it up with our paper trimmer later on. We need to do that. So I want to make sure that I'm able to see my score line there. Okay, try to keep that in place and draw your frame. On there. And we are going to do that on both of our B pieces. And again, I'm going to pierce those corners there. Just go on the inside of the corner a little bit. There we go. And cut both of them out. Okay, now we are getting our A piece back in, and I am going to turn it over, and I just want to make sure that I'm doing this right. And if you can see, because we stayed away from the score line a little bit, this edge is a little bit smaller than that edge, and also we are going to clean it up here a little bit. So this is how I am going to place it. You're going to try to line up your... No, I'm sorry, I'm one step ahead. First we are going to apply our first layer of acetate. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my double-sided tape, place it here. Staying close to that cut edge of the frame on the inside. I'm going to peel that tape backing. And then I'm going to place my piece of acetate on there. And carefully burnish that a little bit on the tip. Or glue. But be careful if you use wet glue that you don't smoosh it. I'm going to use wet glue also in a second. Okay, so now I'm going to place this on top of here, but I need to check that I'm doing this. You are going to try to line up your frame as good as you can. You don't want to go over that score line there. Well, in my case it's not going to be perfect, but it's pretty hard to get it perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some wet glue here now, but I'm staying away from that inner edge a little bit, because at least I'm trying to, but I don't want to smoosh that glue all over my clear acetate. That's not going to look nice. So again, make sure you stay away from your score line, that you can see the score line. And try to line it up with your frame. Go a little bit more. Okay, I can live with that. That's fine. And carefully burnish it. Because I'm using wet glue, I'm not giving too much pressure. I'm just scared for that glue to ooze out on the plastic. Okay, so that's done. My next step is to put some shiny thingies in there. So I have a couple of sequins here, and I'm not doing too much. A little bit of that. I have some glitters in here as well, but I think I'm just going to get the bottle. So these are chunky glitter by Recollection. These are called, it says glitz. It has a little bit of a pearl shine to it, and sometimes they appear to be a little pink, depending on how the light falls on them. You put in there as much or as less as you prefer. I try to spread it out a little bit. It's not really a shaker, it's more of a decorative element. So now I'm going to place the second piece of plastic. So again, I'm going to use my wet glue for that. If I don't cover it all, it's fine, because I'm going to cover it with one more layer of cardstock. So again, I'm just being careful here. And then finally we are going to place our last piece of the frame to hide all that construction. Let me see, this is going to be the top for that piece, so I don't want it to have any overhang there. I think that will be perfect. You can do this with double-sided tape as well if you want. But in this case I would like to have a little bit of wiggle time. I'm starting to use the wet glue for construction more and more actually. Okay, so I don't want it to have any overhang there. And I want to line up my frame, of course. Oh, I forgot something, darn it. The magnet. The magnets. Let me see what I need. Okay, just rubbed off that glue a little bit. So I'm going to place it where I want it. Now this is straight here, the top. I'm going to make sure that I don't have any overhang here, so I'm going to line that up here where I want it. And we can clean up the side and the bottom. But I don't think we need a lot of cleaning up on this one. Okay, that's on there. Okay, let me see, like that and like that, I think. Yeah. So let's renew the glue a little bit. So no overhang on the bottom in this case. Try to line up my frame. Here with the magnet I'm going to add a little bit of extra glue there on the edge. So actually the bottom is also pretty clean. So let me see. I think I will just clean that up there. Bottom and top is fine. I'm not getting in trouble with my boxes at all. Okay, so just I'm just going to clean up this edge here. That's it. So I'm going to decorate it exactly the same way as this one. And for that I have my scrap pieces here. As you could see, I've done quite a lot on decorating on the box. Okay, so I'm going to go all the way in this direction, and this is too short, right? These were too short, yeah. So I need to have one more of that for now, and then I also need to do the back, of course. So this is a half-inch strip. I'm going to place it here and just draw. Most of the times I will measure it and cut it, but in this case I'm doing it like this and it's working pretty well. And then I'm going to do that here. Now for these ones, I'm going to place it here. And again I'm going to draw where I want to cut it. Let's place it a little higher. And I'm aiming for a really small white border in between. I'm going to try and line up my outer edge of my strips. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on the inside, but I will show you for the, well, it's not really the closure, but it's the part where you can pull the door open. What I didn't I prepare that one? Oh, I did, yeah, I did. So using my stitched circle die set, I've cut out a piece of white, a white circle with a stitched edge, and then with a normal round circle die or circle punch, whatever you have that fits in there, I've cut out a piece of the pattern paper. That's this pattern paper, and I made these things exactly the same way, only these are larger. So this was made, all my pull-outs were made with this technique. Then I have two, well, I've already glued them together, but I've got two of this size, what I've cut here from the pattern paper in white, stick them together to give that a little bit of height, a little bit of thickness. And then what I'm going to do is get my crocodile, and I'm going to punch a 1/8 inch hole in this circle. Try to get it centered, but that's not easy with these little pieces. So I'm just eyeballing it. If I'm not completely centered, well, no big deal. Then I've got some string, and I need to check, I think I was using this one. Yep, just got a little piece. And I need a little eyelet, and I decided to go with some silver ones. So first I'm going to just double this. I'm going to put it through the hole there. just have it stick out to my liking. I'm just seeing what I did with the other one, that it's about the same. And then you are going to push your eyelid through. Now you might struggle with that a little bit, but can be a little bit difficult. There we go. I want to have a little bit more sticking out there, so I'm just pulling on that. And then I'm going to set my eyelid. I always have to think, because it happened to me more than once that I did it wrong. There we go. Then I'm just cutting off here the excess of that string. And now I have this, what I glued together, and I'm going to make a 3/16 inch hole there. And it's really difficult to get this in there. And now this I'm going to glue on here. And I made the hole because I want to see my pattern paper through the eyelid. So this is giving it a little bit of dimension, but not too much. Foam tape or something like that, or how do you call those little dimensional tape pieces. I just wanted to have a little bit of dimension. So you might want to hold this in place a little bit until you are secure that it's glued down. Maybe add a little extra there. And then I'm going to glue this. I'm going to place my glue on that white circle and glue that on here. But in order to determine where I want it, I'm going to get my box in, place it on where it's going to be, because I want to have it about the same height as that one. And if that's not completely perfect, yeah, you know, nobody's going to notice. And just hold that in place. Now I need to decorate the magnets here a little bit, but I will tell you, to be honest, I had this door made and then I was like, oh, it would be cute to just keep that open, or maybe keep them both open, and you can also make a little box to fit in here. I'm going to place the how do you call those things? Not shoes, but to keep the feet warm of the baby. I'm going to place them in there. You can also, just like I made the box here to go in the box, you can also do that in this one and just keep it open. You don't have to make this. But I already had that in there and I could pull that out, but I've already got my pattern paper around it, so I decided to just go ahead with this. And then this is what it will be. Nice, that works. So I'm going to attach it here on the sides, and then I can decorate the side of the box. And I'm going to decorate that part there. And what I think I will do is use this pattern, and I'm going to wrap it around a little bit. See if I'm going to get away with it. I need to clean that up a little bit more than I have it now. So yeah, and then when that's done, we can attach the box in the actual album. I really love how this turned out. For these little things here, what I did, I just decided on what am I going to put in there. You don't have to do the exact same things that I did, of course. And I just made a Word document, have them enough space between the words so that I could use my die cut to cut out the words, and I just used a rectangle stitched die for that. So I did printed it on my cardstock, not on printer paper but on cardstock. So just so you know. So I'm going to finish this up and then we can attach it in the cover. Okay, I'm going to continue with showing you how to construct the boxes to go in the memory box. And in your cutting guide you can find 3 sizes, and I will tell you later on why that is. I'm going to show you the box style A and the box style B, one of each. And I'm going to make 4 of A, the small one. Why is that? Well, I'll just show you now. Because when so these will go into the smaller pockets. Now this is not right because it's a little bit too high, but the ones that we are making are going to be the right one. So this fits in here, it fits in here, it fits in there, and it fits in there. So I'm going to make 4 of those, but I found that my middle section was a little smaller. It's a little bit tight to get these in. So I've adjusted the measurement for it. And that's your box style C. So the construction is exactly the same, only the measurement is a little bit adjusted. And I'm going to make 2 of C to go in my middle section. So before you are going to decide on what the box sizes is that you have to make, just make 1 of A and try if they fit in all your boxes, or maybe you have to make 2 C style boxes. So that's just what I want to tell you, and the B style are for the larger areas. So I'm going to show you A and B. The construction is exactly the same for both, but there are a couple of things that you want to take into account. So let's start with A. I'm going to get my pencil and I'm going to clean up the mess here a little bit. So this middle box here is the bottom of your actual box. Let's go to the bumpy side. It's a little bit easier, maybe a little bit better to see your score line. So this is the actual box that it's going to be the bottom of the box. It has a shorter side and a longer side. The longer side is going to be your front or your back. And that is what you want to look at, because what I want is we have the middle box. Then I'm going 1 box towards me, and I want to have 2 attachment flaps on my front part of that first box next to the bottom. So I'm just going to draw that. It's easy for me. I know where to cut later on. And on the short side, I don't want to have that on the first box next to it, but I want to have that next to the second box. So that means I'm going to make them here. And I'm always doubting myself when I'm doing this, but so here comes 1, here comes 1, and then here and here. So we have the middle box. Then on the front and the back side, I'm going to the first box from your bottom, draw my attachment pieces on those squares, and then for the short side I'm skipping 1 box, and then onto the outer box I'm going to draw those. That means that I can cut out these squares on the corners. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to angle it here slightly, not too much, but you can angle it slightly. So you just have to bear with me a little bit on this, because yeah, just follow the steps. That's what I would suggest. So I'm just going to cut out all those squares that I told you to cut out. Here I'm just cutting the score line away, but we are going to cut that down further. So this is what we should have right now. So now I'm going to cut down these parts so I kept those flaps. And it really helps if you draw it on there, because it it's just a guideline for yourself on where to cut. So I'm going to angle it here, angle it to this side. Here again I'm just cutting roughly away the score line. I'm going to cut that down further so. And then you can also cut this short like halfway, maybe a little bit more than halfway. We don't need that whole part there. So I'm doing that on the other side. So now, just to make it easier for myself, I'm going to fold on these so I have a little bit more space to cut. I'm going to angle it here, just like I've drawn. Angle it there, up to that intersection there, and then I'm going to cut on my score line. And this you want to do a little bit more neat. Like that. And then again, I'm just making this a little shorter. Do the same thing here. Oh. So this is how it should look. I just dropped all my stuff on the floor, but okay. So I'm going to do the same thing here. It looks a little bit weird now, but it's going to work, I promise. Okay, so this is how it looks at this moment. I'm going to fold and burnish all my score lines now, and I'm going to fold towards that bumpy side. Okay, that's done. Let's get some double-sided tape in. I just think it's easy. We are going to start with these flaps here. I'm going to fold them in and place some double-sided tape on the edge. You can use wet glue for this, but this is, for me, it's just easy. I don't really have to wait until it dries and that sort of stuff. I'm just going to clean up my edge here a little bit. Okay. So we've placed that tape. Now we are going to attach it right there, making sure that everything is nice and straight. So I'm going to remove the tape backing from this side and from this side and stick it on this part of the box. Burnish that down. And then we are going to do the same thing on this side and burnish that down. So now these flaps here, I'm going to fold outwards. And I I am going to attach a little bit of double-sided tape along the edge here between the score lines. You don't have to apply any glue on these flaps. If you want to, you can do it, but I don't feel it necessary at all. I am going to use a little bit of wet glue on that flap there. So these are folded out, and I'm just going to push this in there and burnish that on there. And then your small flaps will lie in place automatically. Really, they will stay there, no glue required. It's just to make it a little bit more sturdy and have nice clean edges. So again, fold them out and fold this inwards and burnish that. So also for these flaps, I'm going to place a little bit of double-sided tape along the cut edge. And then I'm going to remove the tape backing. I'm going to do this on one side only for now. Place some wet glue along the edges and fold it in to hide your construction strips on the side. So like I said, I'm just gluing down one side for now. Why? Because I want to give myself the opportunity to make a closure here on the front and hide that on the inside with my flap. So I'm just going to leave it like this for now until I've decided on what I want to do, because yeah, you want to be able to take out the box, of course. So I'm thinking about doing that with a brad or with an eyelet. I'm not sure yet. You can also use your circle punch and punch out a half circle, so you can place your finger in it and pull it out. That's also a very good opportunity, but I haven't decided yet, so I'm going to leave it. So now let's see if we did a good job, if I did my measurements right. It should fit in here, and you can place some decorative paper on there, of course, and it should sink in there about 1/8 of an inch. And I did that on purpose to give you the opportunity to use an eyelet or a brad on your box. So that fits nicely there. But it doesn't fit in my middle. It fits, but it's too tight to my liking. I think especially when you use decorative paper on it, it's going to break at some point. So yeah, okay, let's do box style B. We are going to do the same thing here. So this middle box is the bottom of the box, and I am going to make my attachments on the longer side. This is the front, that is the back. I'm going one down, and I want to have my attachment piece right there, right there. I'm going one up, and I want to have it right there and right there. And from the side, I'm going 2 boxes up, and then so 2 boxes to the side, and then I want to have it there, there, 2 boxes to the side, there, there. And I'm going to cut away these squares. And now again, I'm going to cut my attachment strips. So this is what that looks like, and now we are going to fold and burnish all the score lines again. So again, fold these flaps here inwards and apply some tape or glue, whatever you prefer. And we are going to stick those to the smaller parts there. So again, I'm folding back on my flaps a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so now again, these flaps are going to fold outwards. And I'm applying some double-sided tape along the edge there. So I'm going to remove that tape backing, apply some glue here just for extra secureness, fold these out and then push it in. You know, the cutting is actually the most complicated of these boxes. Once you've done the cutting, it's easy. Again, I'm going to apply some double-sided tape along those edges as well. Remove it, some glue, and I'm going to go along the edges here on this part and fold it in. And again, I'm just leaving that other one so I can decide on the closure that I want to make. There we go, box style B. And that should fit. It should fit in here, hopefully. Yay, I did a good job. I'm happy with that. So again, yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the closure. We'll see. But you do want to have something to pull it out. So I might use a punch, but I'm thinking about using or an eyelet with some ribbon, just like I'm going to do here, or maybe something with a brad. I just want to have the I'm going to try it out on these ones because these have the wrong measurements, and then I can decide on what I want to do. So I'm going to make 2 of B, 4 of A, and 2 of C for the middle. So please measure on what it is that you need to make before you start cutting and scoring all your papers. So this I'm going to clean up with some pattern paper, of course, and I'm going to decide on the pattern papers that I'm going to use here, and that will help me to decide on the pattern paper that goes on here, and then I can finish that off. So yeah, I still have some work to do on this box, but I'm already loving how it's turning out. Yeah, I'm excited. Okay, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.